You're on a spaceship. Boop, 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 boop. You're on a spaceship. How do I get used to this format of expression? Is it this strange for everyone? Of course not, because there's an entire movement of faces on cameras talking about their expression, their intimate moments of life, and their imagination for whatever sense and purpose. It's a thing. It's a thing that's happening. That's quite prevalent, and it will become more prevalent. Where the act of observation and henceforth surveillance doesn't really have much effect anymore. See, we're evolving as a species. That's pretty hard science by now, but that experience is accelerating now. The evolution is accelerating in terms of the brain smarts. Jesus, I'm dyslexic. All right, whatever. Words don't come out good, but that doesn't matter because I'll get the point across anyway. The brain smarts bits, evolving in that sense that being exposed to a method for so long that is so subversive, right? I mean, I guess the classical measurement of evolution that most people still have some belief in is the Charles Darwin sort of random mutation, survival of the fittest kind of thing, and usually depicted as the physical mutation and overall sort of brain density, the emergence of language, over millions of years, whatever. I'm talking about something that's developed exponentially in like 100 years, or less. I mean, not taking into account the information that we receive, are exposed to, and develop in influence of within the electromagnetic spectrum, and light, photons, which are involved in all matter of surveillance, whether it's your own authorized surveillance or otherwise, all arrives at us on those spectrums. So if we're developing, especially each generation, to be less susceptible to surveillance, then the method of observation as a consciousness retainment method is not going to be viable anymore. But not only that we are learning and developing from what we have absorbed on those frequencies. So we are physiologically evolving very quickly to overcome the challenges of that spectral bombardment. And the more it increases, the more information we retain and the more we mutate from that. Now, I get back to the point of why I was talking about this and bringing up that concept. Was literally me just trying to come up with an idea. So this is how some minds function, right? I mean, it's maybe many, or in my sense, so I'm experiencing this elliptical universe, and it's just me I have to worry about, so I don't have to count 6 billion potentialities. It's not actually important to the elliptical existence. The only point that the co-creative universe comes into play is through the moments of information exchange, when we actually directly communicate, and we don't always directly communicate. The people in our lives also act as this elliptical reflection messaging system within the self-conscious realm, the elliptical space. You, as perceived from you, as our influence of a perception. That's actually developing a lot now, more than probably any time in human history. And I think the social influence to move further and further into that divisive narcissist space to defeat our own survival mechanisms is actually backfiring now, to the point that we're evolving to a state that we can easily subvert it and redirect and re-energize that notion. So I mean, from my own perspective, I would describe my experience as both elliptical and co-creative, and material. All of these states are in equilibrium with each other. There really is no one path as is being devised at the moment. Still, the material sciences, the spiritual ether self, the mathematical, theoretical, geometrical self, all of these sort of spaces that we communicate between, all the ideals of any one of those paths seem to often negate the adherence of the other part. So, but they're all completely inseparable. Because how could they not? I mean, how could any of this experience be separate in its representation? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, that anything could be separate anymore. The old ideal, like, we grew up on textbooks about, the material sciences, that the universe is dead. God is dead. Matter is dead. It's there. It's disconnected from us. We're just walking through the only living matter in a dead universe. Now, I'd be a very different being born in that time, not having these experiences happen throughout to the point where I exist in this form. I imagine I'd had very different flaws, and probably that would be some of the highest ideals that I may have even reached to. Whatever path I would have existed in that time would have been quite defined. No longer is, and to the point where, like, it feels nonsensical to me to separate any of these states, even your dream state and your waking state. There's no disconnection there ever. It's just like everything we perceive is as real as anything that we perceive. Reality is just the lens in which we cast light onto experience. There's really no boundaries to it. So I'm impressed at how quickly we're suddenly moving as a collective experience. There's been a lot of very difficult personal times, and anytime I converse those with others around me, it's reflected throughout their own lives as well. Like, there's such a coherence and experience of being between us and the people we love, and gravitate around is becoming far more cohesive than I could expect to have had if I was born a generation or two before. It's the cohesion of life right now is getting dense on so many levels. It's quite incredible, where you start collapsing your memories down as not being things that has happened and no longer persist, but things that are happening, have happened, will always happen in that instantaneous experience of time, as a experienced as a form rather than a passing through, a vector. Yeah, interesting times. I'll wrap that up. What can you do? Oh, I almost got it on 11:11. That would have been cute. Yeah. All right. Go. No, the other one.